Okay. Thank Hashem that we're able to learn every day. It's we're learning. We should have the base of English immediately. Is this for me? Thank you. Okay, today we're going to start Mishnah and Daf Chav Ches 28. Kayach 28a. Nizar Kaleachad Min Adamim. Okay, we were talking about if a woman becomes a Nazir and then that Nazirus goes off because the husband annuls it, what happens with the sacrifices? So the same thing would apply if the sacrifice started to be brought. What would happen with the sacrifices? What would happen if the husband now wants to annul it now, right? Right, this is already seems to be too late because once the sacrifice is brought, what is he annulling? But let's take a look. If they sprinkled the blood of one of the sacrifices, according to this opinion of the Mishnah, she's already allowed to drink wine. So, the only thing that it would affect the annulment that the husband does, the only thing that would happen now is that she won't have to shave her whole head, her whole body, I guess. Whole body. She won't have to shave everything. Because a Nazir, when he becomes pure, or she becomes pure, after the sacrifice, they shave the whole body. So if the husband annuls it now, she won't have to do that shaving. But the rule is, why? Because since she's allowed to drink wine, what type of vow is a husband allowed to annul? Anything that's in a nefesh, or anything that affects their intimacy. But here it would be in a nefesh for a Nazir, right? But because she's allowed to drink wine, so there's no in a nefesh. Rabbi Akiva says, "Afilu nishchata alea achas mikola behemes in yachal hafer." Not only if the blood was sprinkled, but even if the animal was just slaughtered, already can't annul it. Now, she's still prohibited to drink wine. She's only permissible to drink wine after the blood is sprinkled. It only really goes off after the blood is sprinkled. So according to Rabbi Akiva, there still is about 10 seconds left in between the slaughtering and where she's not allowed to drink wine. In a nefesh, you should be allowed to annul it. Rabbi Akiva says, no, can't annul it. So the problem over here of wasting the sacrifice, hefsid kachim. He's going to annul it, it's going to be a loss to the sacrifice. Kiva says you can't do that. But medavar mamurim, when do we say? No, the sacrifice is not going to be able to be brought. It's slaughtered, and you can't do anything with it, right?
So you
can't sprinkle the blood. Everything is like void. When do we say this? Rabbi Akiva's rule, b'taglachas tara. That's only when we're dealing with the sacrifice of being brought and the shaving is going to take place. That's with a pure mitzvah. You would do this also if someone was impure. If they became tamei in middle of the Naziriteship, they would have to bring sacrifices, become pure, bring sacrifices, and then start again. So if that's the case, but then yafer, then he could annul it. Because he's able to say, I can't handle a wife. That's minavelas over here means that she is not able to drink wine. Yeah, it's weird because I would have thought minavelas means that all her hair is shaven off. But that wouldn't fit with what the Mishnah is saying. Novelis over here means that she is, according to the commentary of Rashi, and yeah. Well, she won't have to shave her head. He doesn't want her to shave her head. Yeah. He likes her hair. Rabbi Meir, or maybe it's not Rabbi Meir, maybe it's just Rabbi. Yeah, he just woke up now. Oh, so he only hears about it.
His wife was another. They got bigger marital.
He was away on a trip.
Yeah, he was away on a trip. Comes back. She's.
So then he came back. He finds out my wife took on the zeros. And by the way, she's going to the big now.
No, she's about to shave her head. Yeah, he says, "No way." Yeah, so it's either Reb Meir or Rebbe. Say Reb Meir Reimer Achbet Taglachas Satara Yafer Shecholemi Yefshi Bishim Galachas. Meir says that he can actually annul his wife's vow even after the sacrifice, even the blood has been sprinkled, all of that, because he doesn't want a wife that's that looks like that, and that would be something that's between them that affects the mice. She doesn't have any hair. Shave all her hair on her body, so he didn't want that. Okay. Masnisin like Rabbi Eliezer. Our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Eliezer. We have several opinions in the Mishnah, but none of them fit with Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer is Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus. The Rabbi Eliezer, because if it would fit with Rabbi Eliezer, if it would be Rabbi Eliezer's opinion, Omar, he says taglachas ma'akeves, that the haircut actually affects the drinking of the wine. So even if she brings the sacrifices, she still can't drink wine until she gets her hair shaven. So if that's the case, everyone holds that you're allowed to. If there's going to be no waste of the sacrifice, Rabbi Kiva would agree as well, that you're allowed to annul the vow if it involves allowing her to drink wine. Given this nivel, I'm sorry. Given the legil chasir b'chamra, since she didn't shave her head, she's forbidden to have wine. Given this nivel, matzim mefer, and since that's something that's inui nefesh, it keeps calling it nivel. So he's allowed to annul it, anything that's going to affect her quality of life. Anything that's an affliction.
I should have asked this week's ago. But does Naziris include biblically, rabbinically, all alcohol?
No.
It's just wine.
Just wine.
So she can drink beer and have a good time.
Right.
But it's just wine that he finds disgusting that she can't drink wine.
Right. It's the purple color. I don't know.
And all kinds of grapes.
Yeah. Given this thing, never must mefer. Okay, now it says, so what is that? Yeah. There is a term, sheikher. Chamra means wine. Yeah. No. Chamra could mean a donkey or it could mean wine. Depends what type of kick you get out of it.
Or Hamar Medina means.
Hamar can mean a donkey. Say Hamar is a donkey. Hamar Medina is just means to drink. The country drink. Pligi, and the machlekes in our Mishnah that's supposed to be part of this would be as follows. Tana Didan Savar, the first Tana means the Tana Kama says, given this Darak Ladam, once the blood of the sacrifice is sprinkled, La'alta Shari B'chamra, immediately she's allowed to drink wine. And then there is no inay nefesh here, there's nothing afflicting her soul, and the husband can't annul it because she's able to drink wine. She's regular behavior at the dinner table. Rabbi Kiva Savra Filu Ishtachitas Behema. Kiva says even if the animal was slaughtered, ein yachal hafer mishum hefsek kachim. He brings in another a second issue, is that once the animal is slaughtered, if he's going to annul it, then what's going to happen? There's no, he can't finish the sacrifice because this whole sacrifice becomes pointless because the husband just took off the whole Nazirite ship. Maskefla Rab Zera. Zera has a question. Who's the law? Who's he asking it on? Doesn't say. Zera has a question. So what? That the Nazirite ship is off. It's not going to waste the sacrifice. There's only two sacrifices that if they're brought for the wrong intention, it's invalid. All other sacrifices, even though they're brought for the wrong intention, still valid. Now you may have to bring the sacrifice again if you had an obligation to bring a sacrifice and you brought it wrong. Someone brings he took on himself to bring an oila. He ends up bringing a shlamim, or he sacrificed for the sake of a shlamim. So we say that it's kosher. You can eat it. For a shlamim, for an oila or something. It's not considered a waste of a sacrifice. So except for a chatas and a korban pesach, those are two sacrifices that if you change if the intention is wrong, it's totally invalid. So Reb Zera is asking, why is Rabbi Kiva saying that you're wasting the sacrifice? Not wasting the sacrifice, sprinkle the blood. I know you can't sprinkle it for a Nazir because she's not a Nazira anymore. So say it's a shlamim and just sprinkle it. And then the sacrifice is still going to be good. Milay Tanya was not taught in a brisa. Kivsei atzeres. The lambs, which are shlamim of Shavuos, sheshachtan shlei lishman. They were slaughtered for the wrong intention. Sheshachtan l'fnei zmanim, even if they're slaughtered in the wrong time. Elachar zmanim, or after the time, before or after. What do? Adam yizarik babacha yoichel. Sprinkle the blood after the slaughtering for the wrong intention, and you could eat it. You could eat it, so it's not a waste. Kasha and Rabbi Kiva. Why is Rabbi Kiva saying that if the husband's going to annul the Nazirite ship right now, the sacrifice is going to go to waste? It's not going to go to waste. It won't be the best mitzvah, but it won't go to waste. Vim ha'isa Shabbos. Now it's a problem. The lay yizrik. You can't sprinkle the blood. Vim zarak. But if you did sprinkle the blood, kurtza, it's atoned, appeasement. To be able to offer the limbs on the altar in the evening. You don't bring it today, because the only thing you could bring on Shabbos would be something that it had its set time was for Shabbos, but this was a sacrifice that it wasn't supposed to be brought then. Okay.
So they didn't finish up burning things in the day on Shabbos night?
They would even burn it on the Shabbos, but this sacrifice, because its time wasn't Shabbos, wasn't supposed to be sprinkled on Shabbos. But if you did, you have to just wait till that evening after Havdalah to put them on the altar. So the question goes back to our explanation of Rabbi Kiva. That why is that? Why is it considered wasting the sacrifice? We have a way out. Okay. Amri, they say like this. They say, it can also mean say. They say that you know what? You're right. If it would be an oiler or shlamim, then you're right. The sacrifice would not go to waste. And what are we dealing with here? Remember, we said that there's two sacrifices that cannot be offered for the wrong intention. A chatas and a korban pesach. So guess what? One of these was the chatas. She has to bring 3 sacrifices. And Rabbi Kiva says that once it's slaughtered, it's going to go to waste. The problem. We asked, why is it going to go to waste? Just bring it anyway. It's not going to go to waste. Turns out that Rabbi Kiva was talking about that they slaughtered the chatas. That's for sure going to go to waste if the husband's going to annul it right now. As it was taught in the Mishnah, didn't say which one, it said anyone, but it doesn't mean anyone, it means the chatas one. that would be, Im Gilach is not a quote from our Mishnah. Im Gilach, if he shaves his head on one of the sacrifices, it's Yatza, means that it could have been the Chatas that we're dealing with here that was brought first. Okay. Then the Mishnah says,
So is it lost? Is it a loss of a consecrated?
if it would be the Chatas, yeah. So, and that's why Rabbi Kiva is strict about this. Then the Mishnah says, "B'medavar mamurim b'taglachas tara b'taglachas tuma yafer." This is only if she's shaving her head because it's all over. But if she has to restart it, then you can annul it because that would be a situation where she won't be allowed to drink wine. And he's allowed to annul a vow where she says she's not going to drink wine. Rav Meir says that even if she's finished the whole Naziris and there's no issue over here of her drinking wine, the whole issue here is just, is she going to shave her head? The mayor says that he's still allowed to annul it because he can say, I can't handle a woman without any hair. You should megalachas. What does the Tanakama say? Don't worry about that. She can wear a sheitel. Rameir says, Rameir says that he doesn't like a sheitel. So, Aidi de Zuma. Zuma means that there's Zuma could mean poison. It could mean something gross. Because a sheitel is gross, so he says, I don't want it to wear a sheitel. Now, I saw in the notes in the Quran. I thought Zuma meant, I think I saw in one of the commentaries on the side, that it came from someone else's head. So he considers that gross, someone else's hair. From Indian hair. But in the commentary over there, it says that because they weren't able to sew the hair in properly, they wouldn't wash it because it would take all the hair out. So it would just get smellier and smellier with time. So they would have to wear a pouch on the sheitel of perfume to make it. Just wondering if that hat that they wear, the Polish, they have a sheitel with a hat. Maybe that used to be perfume. Goes back to the days when they maybe that's where it came from, that they would wear a hat on top of the sheitel. The hat had perfume in it. I don't think they like this shot.
Well, men used to wear wigs also. Hats.
Oh, really?
You see all these pictures of founding fathers in America.
So wigs.
They have wigs.
Wigs,
on.
and there's a hat also on top.
They also talked about perfuming the wigs
Oh.
in colonial days. That's why curls on them.
Right.
They just must be smell
It's an interesting.
powdered the wig.
Right.
Yeah, they talked about powdering the wig.
Uh-huh. The powder was to smell it. Make it smell it. It was a baking soda to take away the odor. Okay. Next Mishnah.
Wow.
A man can make his son a Nazir by taking the vow for him. He can impose the Naziris on his son.
David Cohn did to his son.
Did his son take it off? Oh. But a woman cannot make her son a Nazir. Kate said. So she just takes out the word Kate said. Gilach, how do they take it off? They take him to the barber. A Nazir is not allowed to let his hair grow. So the relatives just take him to the barber and they shave his head. Okay, there it goes. Now he's not a Nazir anymore. Or let's say they just protest. And that means they serve him wine or something. Well, just like we spoke about in the last cases where there was the designation of the sacrifices, what do you do with the sacrifices if it's not not relevant anymore. Remember, with the woman, her husband annulled the vows, and annuls her Naziris. What do you do with the sacrifices? Well, here also, it could be that the father had designated sacrifices for the son. Meanwhile, the son just got rid of it by shaving his head or protesting, or the relatives. If the animal was designated and specified, and hachata tamas, sin offering has to be put to death, because you can't bring a sin offering if there's no sin there, right? There's atonement already. Ha'oila, the elevation offering, tikkur v'oila, that could be brought. The shlamim, mikra v'shlamim, the shlamim, the peace offering could be brought as a shlamim. However, we're going to put on it the stringencies of not just a regular shlamim, but we'll put on the stringencies of the shalmi nazir, which is v'nechalam liyaymechad. It can only be eaten in one day, v'nechalam lechem, and you don't have to bring the breads along with it. That's not a stringency, that's a leniency. Let's say the money was unspecified. Just there was a little satchel, little pouch of the money for the sacrifices. Yiplu l'nedava. So then you use that money just to buy oilas. Ma'is mifarashin. Let's say it was the money was specified, not the animal was specified, like in the last case. The money for the chatas goes to the sea. You can't have benefit from that, but if you do have benefit, you don't have to bring a carbon me'ila to mei oila. If it's the money of the money of the oila, of your oila that you bring you purchase oilas and you bring that. And then you do have me'ila in that. And for the shlamim, you have your shlamim, like we said before, exactly like by the animal that was specified. You just bring a shlamim, you eat it in one day, and you don't have to bring the bread along with it. Well, we learned in the Mishnah that a man can make his son into a nazir. Gemara says, "Ish in aval ish aloi." It's only a man that can make his son into a nazir, but it can't be the mother. It can't be the wife. The mother cannot make her son a nazir. My time. What's the reason? Rabbi Yochanan Amar. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Halachi b'nazir, it's halach l'mesh misinai." That's it. No questions. Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina Amar. Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina Amar Reish Lakish. She says the name of Reish Lakish. Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina is a little bit later. He's a student of Rabbi Yochanan. Says the name of Reish Lakish, Kedei l'chanche b'mitzvos. That it's the father that has the obligation of chinuch, and the father is training the son what Naziris is like. So he makes his son into a nazir. Now the mother doesn't have the obligation of chinuch, so therefore the mother cannot make the son into a nazir. So why can't the mother? Because only the father has the obligation of chinuch. The mother doesn't have that obligation. Could be would come out from this is that Rabbi Yochanan that argues on Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina maybe holds that the mother does have an obligation to train the son in mitzvahs. We're learning over here that it's only the father that has the obligation. Could be Rabbi Yochanan argues on this. We don't have a proof for that. But if that's the case, then if there's a machlekes with Rabbi Yochanan, the halacha would probably be like Rabbi Yochanan, which answers up a very strong question in Masechta Sukkah. Rabbi Akiva Eiger asks a question there. It says that Hilani Amalka trained her sons to sit in the sukkah because of chinuch. So Rabbi Akiva Eiger asks, the mother doesn't have the obligation to chinuch. It's only a father. I know. But the Gemara brings a proof over there that because Hilni Amalka's sukkah was over 20 amas, it's a proof that over 20 amas is kosher, because she was training her sons. But if she really didn't have that obligation, then it wouldn't be a proof. Okay, well, Rabbi Yochanan, the Gemara is going to ask a bunch of questions on Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina. According to Rabbi Yochanan, you can't ask any questions. No questions, right? That's the tradition. So you can't ask anything. Our Mishnah only said that a person can make his son into a Nazir, not his daughter. Why not his daughter? Well, according to Rabbi Yochanan, it's halach l'Moshe Misinai. You can't ask the question. It's a tradition. We don't have any data. That's just a tradition, and that's what it is. But what's okay? El Reish Lakish. But according to Reish Lakish, Afilu B'itay, shouldn't he be allowed to educate his daughter? The whole thing of Reish Lakish's education is training the son to do mitzvahs. Should be training the daughter also. What if she becomes a Nazira? When she gets older, she could be a Nazira. He has this unique opinion that says you only have to train the sons and to do the mitzvahs, not the daughters. Okay, next question. According to Rabbi Yochanan, that says it's halach l'Moshe Misina hachi ben Nazir sin ben nedarim lai. That's why the father can impose Naziris on the son, but not other vows. El Reish Lakish afil nedarim nami. Why, according to Reish Lakish, why can the father impose other vows on the son, and that would be training the son to keep vows? It's also training. Doesn't have to be just Naziris. Any vow is a mitzvah to keep or to get it off. Well, the Gemara says, "Leimi ba'ikama." It's not only other vows, but even Naziris. Leimi ba'ibnedarim blessing nival. Not only nedarim. That doesn't make the child disgusting. Let's see if nival over here means afflicting or disgusting.
It's deprivation.
Deprivation. What does that mean? Depriving him of the wine. Well, the chiddush is that other nadarim, of course, the father can impose on the son because it's not affecting the son in the same way. It says, I'm going to wake up early, some neder like that. Okay, yeah, now you have to keep. If he's going to say you can't drink wine, and then it's going to affect the child, that he is going to deprive him like that, maybe the father doesn't have to train him to keep it. We're learning here that he does train him to keep it. Okay. We understand according to Rabbi Yochanan, you get why they're able to protest. He's able to protest. The relatives can protest. What happens when they protest? The whole Naziris drops. According to Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina, and according to the way he says the name of Rish Lakish, what's the father doing? He's training his son in mitzvahs. Comes along some relatives and say, we don't like this. So is that how it works? Relatives, the Amrinanlai, that they say to him, like Tigmrei mitzvahs, don't train your son to do mitzvahs, and then we're going to accept it. Okay, they said don't, and then that's how we're gonna accept that. The Savar, so Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina holds, Rish Lakish holds, Kol chinuch leichashav leinichalei. Any chinuch that's not important, leinichalei, we don't have him do it. Now, two interpretations here. One interpretation is it's not important because is it because it's voluntary? Is that why it's like
It's optional for one thing. Second thing is it's not enough. They don't like the suffering.
Uh-huh.
So therefore it's okay to annul it.
Yeah.
So it's not amenable to
I think it's what's happening here is that it's not an obligatory chinuch because he doesn't really have to train him to be a nazir. Maybe he's never going to be a nazir. So therefore, it's considered shameful for the child to have to go through this. So they're able to protest. Taisus has another girsa. He says, the lei chashiva, not the lei chashiv, the lei chashiva, which means it doesn't make the child feel good. And the point of chinuch is to make the child feel good. This is-
suffers.
This over here, it's exactly the opposite. This is embarrassing for him. And that's why the relatives are allowed to come and shave his and cut his hair. He's embarrassed about this, about his situation. Chinuch is supposed to be not to break him, it's supposed to build him. That's what Taisva says. Very interesting, Taisva. I got to go show this to all the teachers.
It's too strict. Or is it particularly for him, this kid, or just in general?
Well, it's the relatives that are allowed to say that this was too strict on him, and then it goes off, right?
They override the father.
Oh, they override the father.
We still practice that. It's just practice.
What? That the relatives override the parent in the education?
Yeah.
It depends. Sometimes there's in-laws that support. They give a lot of financial support to the family. They override the parent or one parent. Yeah. Okay. It's a very strong question. According to Rabbi Yochanan, we understand why you're able to shave the whole head. When they shave the whole head, they're cutting off his payas. But you have to do that because he's a Nazir. But according to Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, it's not Allah Sinai that this child is a real Nazir. According to Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, it's just the mitzvah of chinuch. But what are you going to do? For chinuch, you're going to cut off his payas? We're thinking here, chinuch is the Rabbanan, and cutting off the payas is the deraisa. Right? It's a problem. So the Gemara answers, "Kasavra kafas kol reishim derabanan v'chinuch men derabanan, v'asi chinuch derabanan v'dachi akafa derabanan." You say that cutting off the payas of a child is also a derabanan, so it's no problem. Why is it only a derabanan? I guess part of it's not cutting off an adult's payas; it's just a child's payas. So that would also be only a derabanan. According to Rabbi Yochanan, we understand it's a real Nazirus. It's Allah Sinai, so he can bring a carbon. According to Rabbi Yochanan, that it's just practice, but yeah, it's a practice that you end up bringing a sacrifice to the temple, which is not necessary. It's chulin lazara, the biblical prohibition. Where it says he has this unique opinion that says chulin in the azara is not a biblical prohibition. You're allowed to bring mundane animals to the temple. Okay. According to Rabbi Yochanan, that he's a real Nazir, this child, if he becomes tamei, what happens? They have to bring sacrifice, they have to bring birds. How does the kayan slaughter the bird? The chata, and there's also an oil saif, but no one's going to eat it. The chata saif, he has to take his fingernail and through the nape of the neck and do malika. And then, now if that's a sacrifice, then that's considered kosher. But if it's not a sacrifice, then it's considered nevela. You're never allowed to shecht like that. It's only in that specific case. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, I understand why he's going to be allowed to do that, because he's a real Nazir. But Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, she says it's just practice. Hakachal nevela. The kayan's going to end up eating nevela. Listen to this. Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda. We just switched on us. Kasavar ki Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda. He holds like Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda that says in Chulin, Dein shchita la'if min ha'Torah v'chulin ba'azara lav deraisa. He holds. I jumped. Dein shchita la'if min ha'Torah. He holds that birds don't really need shchita. It's only animals that need shchita. So therefore, it's not considered an nevela, just like fish. There was an opinion like that in Chulin that birds don't need to be shechted. No one paskins like that, but here apparently he does. Okay, v'chulin ba'azara lav deraisa. How could you tell me chulin ba'azara lav deraisa? We're going to have to say that chulin ba'azara is lav deraisa as well. Okay. Does Rabbi Yossi really hold like this? But Tanya, but we have a brisa. Now, when it says Rabbi Yossi, who's it referring to? I guess Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina. Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina. Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina hachi. We have a brisa that says like this. Minayin lachata seif shibala safek. We mentioned this before, that usually a sacrifice cannot be brought if there's a doubt. There's a special sacrifice that's brought for a doubt. It's called a asham tali. But a regular sacrifice is not brought when there's a doubt, except for a chatas oif, which has that leniency that it is brought when there's a doubt. And that would be brought if a woman has given birth and she wasn't sure what she gave birth to, if she really is obligated or not. She was allowed to bring that chatas. How do we know that a chatas oif that's brought on a suffix that it's not eaten? There's a juxtaposition here between a zachar and a nekeva, a male and a female. Ma zachar may be carbon alavadai, just like a male brings a carbon when it's a definite obligation to bring the carbon. For example, he ate chaylev. He didn't eat it on purpose. He ate it by mistake, but he knows that he ate it. Af nekeva may be a carbon alavadai. Also, a woman would bring a carbon if she knows for sure. Ma zachar may be ala safek. Now, just like the zachar brings for a safek, what does he bring for a safek? He brings an asham tali. If he's not sure if he ate the chaylev, so he brings an asham, a guilt offering. That's until he finds out, he brings that. It should protect him. Af nekeva maybe ala safek. So also she brings for a safek. What does she bring for a safek? She's going to bring the oila sa'if. If she's not sure if she had a baby or whatever she gave birth to, if that was considered a child that required the offering. Ma zachar mi minshu maybe alavadi maybe ala safek. Af nekeva may minshu maybe alavadi maybe ala safek. Should be the same thing. Just like if he does a sin, he brings an animal sacrifice. Also, if he's not sure if he did a sin, he brings an animal sacrifice. Just like the woman, when she gives birth, she gives a bird sacrifice. So too, when she's not sure if she gave birth, she brings a bird sacrifice. Maybe carbon maybe a carbon. Let's take it one step further. Just like when the man does a sin, talking about he eats chaylev, or there's a doubt, he brings the asham tali. So if you eat the sacrifice, we should say that by the nekeva, by the woman also that brings the carbon because of a doubt, she should eat the sacrifice. Amrit loy. We say no. By a man that he brings a sacrifice, what's the problem? Could be chulin ba'azara. Could be that it's a mundane animal coming to the temple. A regular animal coming to the temple. It wasn't considered a consecrated animal because he was not sure if he did the sin. Taimer ben Akeva, when it comes to a woman, sheshnei yisurim, that there's two prohibitions. My shnei yisurim, what are the two prohibitions? Lav isin nevela, v'chulin ba'azara. There's two things. There's nevela and chulin. See, what we just came out with is a statement from Reb Yossi Bar Yehuda that says that a bird that's not shechted is considered nevela. How was it shechted if it's not? How was it brought through malika? That malika is considered nevela. So how could you tell me that he holds Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina holds like Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda? Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda himself says that it's considered nevela. Maskefla Ravacha Breder Avika. Over here, the maskefla is giving me a teretz. It's a question, but it's a question on a question, so it's giving me an answer. Yeah. Maybe it's not a real prohibition. Maybe it just looks like it's prohibition, and that's why we say not to do it. Maybe it's all rabbinic. Maybe the reason why it's not supposed to be eaten is because it's rabbinic. It's chulin bazar is a rabbinic prohibition, and Isinavel is also a rabbinic prohibition. And then that would answer up what we said before, that Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina holds that malika would only be a rabbinic problem. not a biblical problem. Let's leave it over here.